It's the time of year when everyone is traveling or running around getting thoughtful gifts for the people they care about. Think about giving yourself the gift of Audible. Now is the best time to do it with a special offer of 53% off your first 3 months. Audible is an amazing resource for listening to audiobooks. You can find bestsellers, motivational audiobooks, mysteries, thrillers, memoirs, and more. You get to listen on any device, anytime, anywhere with the Audible app. With Audible, you'll also be able to easily enjoy audiobook exchanges and your own audiobook library for you to keep forever, even if you cancel. So Audible is so awesome. I know this from personal experience. I've been using Audible for years.
I love Audible.
If you guys are looking for your first book to download on Audible, something that I listened to recently that I really loved was by Matt Kahn, and it's called Whatever Arises, Love That.
So right now, for a limited time, you get 3 months of Audible for just $6.95 a month. That's more than half off the regular price. So choose one audiobook and 2 Audible originals absolutely free. Just go to audible.com/Vibin or text Vibin to 500-500. Once again, that is audible.com/VIBIN or text Vibin to 500-500.
Hey guys, welcome to Hi Vibin It. This is your host, Kelsey Aida, and I'm here with my co-host, Lindsay Robinson. Lindsay is a hypnotherapist, and I am an inspirational blogger and author, I suppose. So we are here to help you guys manifest your best life, to align with your desires, to feel good, and to just live with more intention. That's pretty much what we're here to do every week. Today we have a really special guest, which we will get to in a minute. But first, we wanted to let you know that we have a Patreon goal and we're gonna need your guys' help achieving it. So the backstory is Lindsay and I have actually never met in real life, but we're best friends through the internet. And we've already been hosting this show for like 20 episodes. And the goal would be to host a show together in the same room, in the same state, like as a thing, because we always do this over the internet, over Zoom. And so if you want that to happen, you can join our Patreon, and the first 50 people to join are going to basically hit our goal. And once we hit our goal of the first 50 people, then I will buy a ticket, I will fly to Vegas, and we will be together at last. And we will film an episode together, and we'll do a bunch of extra content for the Patreon peeps. So if you guys want to help make that vision a reality, then just go to patreon.com/Hi Vibe, and we would super appreciate it. And you get a bunch of bonus goodies when you sign up there. So
yeah, all that's in addition to all the cool stuff you get just for being a Patreon supporter. So go check it out. Did you already give the link? Patreon.com/Hi Vibe.
I sure did, but you did it again. So good job.
Boom.
Boom. Now you really
And by the way, internet best friends 10 years ago or even like 5 years ago, people would be like, oh my God, these loser geeks. But today it's like such a normal, like some of my best friends are from the internet.
Hello. Case in point right here. You're looking at her.
I know. And so our guest also, who are we just keeping her a mystery until we
Yes, I want to
her?
keep the suspense building.
Is also an internet best friend and like a new internet like bestie that we found. So it's a great thing. Internet is like the coolest thing to connect. I wouldn't know half the people I know without the internet.
It is a true blessing.
Because I don't leave my house like ever.
That's true. You're a busy lady.
Anyway, go to Patreon, check it out. What do you got? What else you got?
Yeah, speaking of busy, in February, I'm hosting a retreat in Mexico, which I know I've mentioned a couple times on the show, but it's going to be a self-love retreat. So if you guys want to learn how to love yourselves more, you want to take a break from your busy life, you want to hang out with me for 5 days, and you want to eat a lot of tacos, then I would highly recommend you go to kelseyAida.com/retreat, because we only have 6 spots left, and all the women who are coming so far are amazing, and we're going to work on self-love and get our tan on and soothe our nervous systems, and it's going to be magic. So definitely sign up to come.
How many spots do you have left?
More information. About 6. So we're halfway full. It's a small house. We can only fit like 12 people. So it's going to be intimate and nice.
You had me at Mexico. You had me at tacos, honestly.
Right.
So if anyone else is listening and is like a huge taco fan like I am, that should be enough. Yes. call
And
Kelsey.
then Lindsay, don't you have one more
Yeah,
spot to work with
I
people
have
one-on-one?
I have one spot left to work with people in 2019. So we have this month November and next month December. Doesn't really matter which month I take you guys in because it's a 6-week program. So one spot left if you want major transformation and spiritual alignment and busting through limiting beliefs that could be lurking in your subconscious mind. Get at me. Let's chat about it. You don't have to walk around another 2 or 3 months with this stuff. Let's get on it and get it fixed. Not fixed. I hate that word. Get it shifted, resolved in a way that you want. But yeah, one left. So let it be you.
Also, this is the perfect time because we're going into not only a new year, but we're going into a new decade. It's going to be 2020.
Okay, so somebody put on, it was like a viral thing and it said there's only 3 months. This was in October. There's only 3 months left of this decade. Like, let that sink in for a second. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't
Only
even
2
think
months
about
now.
that. I was like,
Well,
oh
more
yeah,
like
new
1
year,
month
cool. But
by the time this airs.
it's the end of a decade, you guys. This is big stuff.
Let's rein it in and celebrate like crazy.
Bring in what you want.
Okay, so without further ado, I want to bring in Taylor Ray because she's being so cute here, just trying to be silent on this call while we're talking about all this housekeeping stuff. And so today we have on Miss Taylor Ray, who coaches female entrepreneurs mostly, but she's also like a badass manifester, and she will just help you align up with your purpose and your freedom and abundance and all the things that we all want. So thanks for being on the show, girl.
Hi, Taylor.
Hey, thank you. Here I am working.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for coming. And it's funny because, so speaking of internet friends, like we were saying earlier, Taylor actually had me on her podcast, Strong Babe Collective, a while back. I think it was in April, episode 70. And we talked about everything. We talked about twin flames. We talked about psychic abilities.
It was honestly magic. Like, I was like hypnotized when we were just talking and it was so good. Just loved it. And I'm so happy to just be like continuing all the magic here now.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited to talk to you because I'd never met you before, but Kelsey has nothing but good things to say and like how awesome you are and how aligned you are with like everything we talk about. So I'm very excited to dive into this. I know you have a lot of good stuff to show us and to teach us and our listeners today.
Thank you, hon. And yeah, so the feeling is very mutual. I'm very excited to be connected. Anyone that comes recommended from Kelsey, I'm like, great, new bestie. So
Exactly.
And for these beautiful connections.
And if we get enough Patreon people, me and Kelsey are going to go to Australia.
Boom, next level Patreon goal.
Hang out with Taylor.
Hang out in my corner of the world.
Yeah, it really is. Way over there.
Yeah.
We start
out here.
Why don't we start the way we normally start? And that's just kind of give us your interpretation of how you got into what you do and why you do it and, you know, kind of your why and your passion. I want to hear all about it.
Yes, I have a long version of this story, but I won't take forever. I'll just give you a quick little wrap up, a little in a nutshell version. So basically, long story short, I've always been someone that has always known, like, you know, I want to have a business and I want to have like an impact and I want to help. And that took a while for me to figure out exactly what that was like. And there was a bit of a journey that went on before what I'm doing right now, where ultimately, like, I came from a business background and I sort of started off, you know, dabbling in my own business, or in the world of like health and wellness, which is, it's somewhat ironic because in running that business, I basically ran myself into the ground. So it was health and wellness for everybody else. But basically
health and wellness and burnout.
Yes. Yeah. So it was boot camps and like fitness and things for women. So I always knew that I wanted to serve women. At that point in my life, that's what was important to me. So that's the direction that I went in. But yeah, ultimately pushed myself way too hard in too many directions and had a big old breakdown and went through burnout and all those sort of things. Started to suffer from a lot of anxiety because ultimately it tanked my whole business. Like, I couldn't continue to keep going. And sort of, you know, when you've been building something for the better part of 2 years and then suddenly it's gone and that was your entire identity, that creates a lot of like, you know, what am I here for? Like, what's my purpose if not that, you know? So that was quite difficult. There was a lot of very teary nights and a lot of feeling sorry for myself. But ultimately it's the thing that I'm the most grateful for because it led me to exactly where I am right now, because in going through that, I had a real wake up call and just realized that, you know, I've been prioritizing so much of my life that yes is great, but there are other things that are important as well. And I always knew that there was something that was missing, but I didn't 100% know what it was. And I'll never forget the day that I was literally walking down my hallway after just, you know, being like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And suddenly just like heard this voice clear as day, was my intuition. I didn't know it at the time, but basically it said to me, like, this is happening for you, not to you. Like, start looking at the reasons this is happening for you and get out of your little pity party. And it was like a light went off. And honestly, I was like, okay, sure. Like, I don't know what that was, but all right, I'll listen. And I went on and just started to become very open to, okay, there's got to be more, and started to dive into the world of spirituality and manifestation, and started to really just everything I could find and consume. That's what I did, like podcasts, books, everything, blogs, like whatever I could find, started changing who I was following, all that sort of stuff. And the more I opened myself up to it, the more landed in front of me. Like the universe just kept delivering like everything. And I just started applying it massively, and my life turned around like you wouldn't believe. And I started to share that on Instagram, and then that became the podcast. And then people started to reach out and be like, can you help me with this? Like, you know, I've seen what you've changed, what you've done in 6 months. Like, oh my God, like I want to do that as well. And I was like, well, okay. And so I started working with girls one-on-one, and originally just taught like manifestation and like law of attraction, universal laws, all those sort of things. And then that evolved obviously to where it is that I always knew that I wanted to go, which was then shifting into, because, you know, basically like I built my business up. It only took 6 months to get to 6 figures in the business. And then I was like, okay, well, and then people obviously want like, well, can you help me with that? Like, I want to have a business. I want to step into online. Like, I love what you're doing. And so it evolved exactly where I wanted to go. And now that's exactly what I do, is I serve female entrepreneurs who want to blend the woo with the work and want to come from that place of like alignment, but also blending, you know, the action with it. So I'm big on like the spirituality and the strategy side of things, and teaching girls how to call in freedom, call in impact, and call in abundance by stepping into their purpose and literally sharing their light with the world. So I'm very blessed. I freaking love what I do. Every single day I wake up excited, and yeah, I just know it's worked out exactly as it's meant to, and I love where I'm at, and I'm excited for what's yet to come.
Lindsay. I'll cut this part out, but I thought you were going to talk, so I was just letting you talk. You're muted, by the way.
This thing where we were like, we have to be very careful not to talk over each other. And so we're like, yeah, we're going to be extra careful. And now we're just playing chicken with each other. Like, trying not to.
I was like, is there an audio lag?
What's going on?
My kid keeps doing like noises, so that's why I'm muted. If I go mute, it's just because I can hear it downstairs, and I don't want it to like be picked up on this.
Okay, no problem. Diving back in. I'll say something.
It's okay. I got it. That's so cool. So you talk about, you know, how you started and you got burned out, which is never fun. I know I felt it. I know Kelsey's felt it. I'm sure almost everyone that's listening has felt it in one capacity or another, but it's extra hard, I feel like, when you feel like you've made it. This is it. This is what I'm doing. This is my passion. And then you get the burnout from something that you're supposed to love and something you're supposed to like never feel anything negative about. And so it has this like tug of war aspect to it. But I'm glad that you brought attention to the fact that, you know, you weren't okay with it. You stepped away. You're like, okay, I need to, and you weren't happy about it, but you didn't stay and try to grind and try to like push past it, even though, you know, it didn't really fit anymore. Is that true?
Yeah. It's true to a point. So I did try to push for a very long time until it literally just, because I was running like,
right.
I ended up in a hospital, like, you know, my body gave out, emotionally I gave out, like on a mental state, I just wasn't really coping with it. So like I went from someone who was running like 32 fitness classes a week to I couldn't do a push-up because I tore my rhomboid on my back, I got bursitis in my shoulders, like I couldn't do it. And so suddenly when you can't even demonstrate the thing that you are here to do, like, and suddenly you feel redundant. You're like, what the heck am I doing then? Like, and my girls were amazing. Like they were so supportive.
Which of course makes it worse. Yeah.
It was a hard time. Like it was really emotional, but I just knew like I said, like it worked out exactly as it was meant to. I always wanted to be in the online world anyway, but I actually fell into the physical side of things because at the time it felt quote unquote easier. But it wasn't where I didn't want to be location bound. And so I always knew that. And so ultimately like universe helped me out.
Yeah.
It did what needed to be done.
Yep. So what do you think it was where did you feel the burnout the most? Was it just the physical activity? You just physically didn't feel it?
I feel, yeah, physically my body gave out, but I feel like that was the last sign. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
ultimately there was so many things along the way. I can't remember who said this to me, but a very long time ago, it was like, you know, the universe is always going to drop signs in you. First, it'll be like a little feather, and then it'll be like a brick, and then it's a fucking Mack truck. Like, you know, like it's one after the other. And so like, it was, you know, emotionally, I was exhausted. Like, you know, you kind of like, you'd get to the end of the day and be like, I'm great. And you'd get home into that safe environment. Breakdown and like, so you're so tired, you know, like just so exhausted, but also like just mentally and everything like that, just trying to be there on every front for everybody else and not ever setting any boundaries for myself or doing anything that filled my cup back up or anything like that. And don't get me wrong, like it's so easy for me to say this and be like, yeah, cool, it came out of it, but I don't, like, I still have those tendencies. Like, I don't know if you guys know like Enneagram numbers and things, but I'm a 3, which is an achiever. And like, basically as an achiever, your whole thing is like, if I'm not creating, I have no worth. Like that is, and like there's very great sides to being a 3, but I'm really aware of like the ups and the downs with it. And I think when you have that awareness, it just helps you to manage it better, because I love what I do so much. It can be so easy for me to, you know, sit on the computer for like 13 hours straight and be like cranking out and creating, but then you've got to be aware of it, because if you consistently do it, I'll go down the same path. So having that awareness is really important.
Yeah, that's so funny. I was just, when you mentioned like the signs from the universe will get louder and louder, I heard the same thing. And that's what I was thinking in my head as you were speaking is Abraham Hicks, I think is they say like the signs from the universe are like a toddler. It will get louder and louder. And that resonated with me because I got tiny humans in my house. But that definitely, I will never forget that. It's just going to get more apparent to you, so that to the point where you cannot ignore it.
That's
like,
exactly.
Yeah, you're not able to just kind of push past it. You're not able to just put it to the back of your mind, because you physically and mentally cannot take one more second of it. I love is that a salt lamp in the background?
Oh, yes.
I got one right there. It's just on the other side of my screen.
Never off, ever. It's always on. Got one in the bedroom. Like
mine's always on. I have one in the bedroom too. Mine's always on in there, but in here it's right in front of my window. So I don't want it to like shine out of my house. So I have to turn it off when I leave. But it's so nice and calm. Yeah, it is. It's totally like a little orange beacon out of my window. But it's so nice and calming. I love it. And I have a couple clients that have those, and I'm like, yes, salt lamp. If you guys don't have a salt lamp, go get one. They're awesome. There was something else I was going to say about that too, but I can't remember what it was. Kelsey, do you know your Enneagram?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because my friend messaged me the other day and he was like, so do you fuck with the Enneagram? And I was like, you know, I don't really remember what mine is, but I'm pretty sure mine is it's the one, I don't know if it's called the romantic or if it's called the individualist, but also I kind of oscillate between that one and the achiever, like how you were saying. So I think we should get an Enneagram expert on here because that would be legit and super fun.
Yeah, because I feel very, very aligned with Taylor when she says that that's her. Because, oh my gosh, the first few months of me transitioning to online, I was here any second I could get. And so if I had a babysitter here, I'd keep her late. If my husband was home, I would go right back upstairs and go back to work. It's to the point where he'd have to come in and be like, are you coming down for dinner? And I'm like, just one more email, just one more. I have to align this up on my website. Yeah, I won't stop. And well, I do now, but like in the beginning, it was really hard to get myself to step away. And I definitely felt like that. The first season of me being online, right around now, around the holidays, when the weather started changing, I started like slowing down. And the weather really doesn't get that bad here in Nevada, but I feel like I had some sort of like alignment with the weather, that my mood just went down with the weather. And I was like, I can't do anymore. But I'm sure I was just pushing myself too hard. So you know what I did? I played video games for 2 months.
Have to go the extreme in the opposite direction.
It worked so well. Like so well. I felt happier. I felt light. I was like, I'm not going to do anything today. I'm just going to play video games. And my business nothing happened. Like it didn't go down the drain. I didn't feel like I should be doing it. It was just, if I don't have a moment to fill with work, or if I don't fill my moments with work, I don't know what to fill them with. So I needed
you're a 3.
that release. Yeah. But you think I'm a 3?
Well, it happened to me. That's why I did the test, because I had someone on
Yeah.
my podcast who was a 3, 2 girls actually, like one after the other. And I was like, okay, I need to do this test, because everything they were saying, I was like, oh.
That's me. That's me.
And I did it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh guys, I'm also in the 3 club. I think a lot of entrepreneurs fall into the 3, not everybody, obviously, but like, even if you're not, like, I'm no expert, but like you can have like a 3 with a wing of blah, blah, blah. So like you can have like different like assets of, or facets of like,
Oh yeah.
so I think, yeah, you definitely like a lot of us have that sort of tendency. So definitely get an
Oof.
expert on. I will
Yeah.
tune.
Yeah.
I feel
I
like
definitely need to find out.
I feel like the one thing that's helped me kind of get over my overachieverness and my addiction to productivity was the practice of self-love and accepting myself, because I realized that my tendency to overwork myself was due to a lack of self-worth. So I tied my self-worth to how many dollars I made and how many people I helped and how fast
Yeah.
I could write a book and blah, 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 like overachieve, do, create. But there is value to just existing. Like your presence helps the world. Even just sitting on the couch watching a movie, you can be serving people in different ways and yourself. So it's all about like, how can I already feel enough so that when I am doing these things, it's from a place of alignment rather than a place of not feeling good enough.
Yeah.
You know,
And
I think so many of us have struggled with that.
I want to get into that. And I also want to get Taylor into how you now have like shifted that to avoid burnout while also what sounds like having the best business of your life, you know, and still continuing that passion while also feeling really, really great about it. So we're going to take a quick break. And on the other side of it, we're going to get into this more with Taylor and Kelsey. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. Hiring the right person can take time, and obviously you need to build a team. And while you're busy running your business, maybe you don't have all the time in the world to find new people to bring on board. That's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in to save the day, because it is the best place to post your job. LinkedIn Jobs screens candidates with the hard and soft skills you're looking for so you can hire the right person and fast. Things like collaboration, creativity, adaptability. LinkedIn looks beyond the work skills and puts your job post in front of qualified candidates who match your business requirements perfectly. And they'll even offer your position or connect you with people who are not necessarily even looking for a job. They might already be employed, but maybe your job is a better match for them. So you never know. You're going to get in front of the most amount of eyeballs with LinkedIn Jobs. It's no wonder that people are getting hired using LinkedIn Jobs every 8 seconds on LinkedIn.
So find the right person for your business today with LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay what you want and get the first $50 off. Just visit linkedin.com/Vibin. Again, that's linkedin.com/VIBIN to get $50 off your first job post.
Hey everyone, we are back interviewing Miss Taylor Ray, who is an amazing money manifester and helps people align with their purpose and their dreams and their goals, especially when it comes to owning a business or just creating abundance in general. So here we are. And Taylor, I know this is like a really broad question that could have so many answers, but if you had to pick your most recent insight about manifesting abundance, lining up with abundance, and manifesting money, what would it be?
Oh, very good question. As you were speaking, like so many different things were like coming in, but I'll give you a takeaway that I actually got from Tony Robbins. I went to UPW recently, and one of the things that really stood out to me when we were there that just absolutely hit home, and it's just one sentence out of like a 4-day event. What he said was just, if you think that you know something, but you are not doing it, you don't know it. And to me, that like absolutely hit me in the face. And I think it's such an important thing. And, you know, for all of your listeners that are consuming this and everything, like, you know, we're all out there, we're all up leveling, we're all taking on information all the time. There's so much content out there. We're following people with all this advice, and that's amazing. And if you hear it and you go, yeah, okay, cool, I know that, but you're not applying it to your life and you're not actually doing it, you don't know it. And that just I just feel like that is so, so true for so many things. And, you know, for manifesting anything, whether it's money, whether it's career, whether it's a relationship, whatever you're calling in, if you're like, oh yeah, I'm aware of that, but you're not doing anything about it, and you're not taking the steps, and you're not doing the action, or you don't have the rituals, or you're not doing the things that ultimately, you know, serve you, you don't know it.
Well, and that's true even more, I think, for somebody who's coaching people. Like you and I both could probably, like, there's things that I don't want to tell people to do because I know I'm not doing them, or I know that I've gone off the wagon, so to speak, with doing this one practice that I'm like, oh yeah, it really works, but oh, by the way, I haven't done it in like 3 weeks because I'm so freaking busy doing other stuff. Then yeah, I don't feel comfortable saying it. It's like you have to walk the walk, and you can't really tell someone else to do it because it works so well if you're not thinking it works well enough for you to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're giving that sort of advice, it should be something that you're applying to your life. But what I'll also add to that is I think a lot of the time that can hold people back from showing up because they're like, oh, but I'm struggling with this.
Yeah.
Like, no, like bring that authenticity and be honest. And
yes.
have the biggest connection with people. Like, yeah, people know that, you know, obviously, you know, I teach about like money manifestation, and I teach about entrepreneurship, but that doesn't mean I can't show up and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Hey, I fucked up and haven't done my rituals for a week. I literally did it last week. I went on and I was like, I just journaled for a fucking hour because I've ignored this for a week, and I'm really feeling very like just out of alignment. And this is what I've sat down, and this is now what I've done. And people are like, thank you for opening up. Like, you know, not painting like a perfect picture of like, hey, like, you know, I've always got a 3-hour ceremony in the morning. Like, no, I'm also
busy. My gosh. Yeah.
When you share and open up, people relate. And I think sometimes people don't want to share because they are worried, like, oh, I don't have it like picture perfect. And it's like, sometimes that's what people need as well.
Yeah, dude, sometimes I'll be with a client and I'll be like, I haven't done it either. So when you do it, I'll do it. And then we can share with each other what we do, like a vision board or like something visual like that. But yeah, it absolutely helps to feel like you understand the person, rather than have them just like talk at you. And just be like, do this, do yeah. So sure. Very cool. So I want to get into real quick. You mentioned obviously how hard it was when you went through that whole burnout stage. You had the intuition that it's happening for you, not to you, which, by the way, when I heard that a couple years ago, it's one of those things like you mentioned with what you heard from the Tony Robbins thing. I can never forget it. And it always pops up into my head. It is not happening to you. Just that one word
changed my life
from 2 to 4.
Yeah.
And you can apply it with everything. So after you had that happen, which is so magical that your intuition came to you so lovingly like that. We just had an episode on intuition. After that happened and you kind of had to sit down and figure out how this was going to work, what kinds of things did you implement, or are you now implementing where you can ensure that doesn't happen again?
Okay, I've got a million things. I'll break down a few different ones. Honestly, like, so something I'm really, really big on is like the aligned hustle. So like a lot of people like demonize the word hustle. And I'm first to say, like, for a bit I did, I was like, oh, like, don't say the H word. But now like I shifted it because I was like, no, like I love a good hustle. Like, don't get me wrong. Because massive on the action side of things. And like, you know, I said before, like my big thing is like blend the spirituality and the strategy. Like I see a lot of people fall over where they go, you know, maybe they've watched The Secret or whatever, and like it's a great start, but like there are obviously things that are missing there. You know, or they learn about law of attraction, and so they just go 100% there, and then they're like, oh, like, why isn't this working? And I get this question all the time. Like, you know, I've thought about it, I've journaled about it, I say my affirmations, I see it as being done, it hasn't happened. And I'm like, cool, so talk to me about what action you've done. Like, have you done anything? Like, are you just sitting in your apartment hoping it's
I just told you what I did.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, so that's where I see like a lot of like misconceptions there. And it's like one of the big things. And it's why I talk so much about like, you know, manifestation and everything. Cause I'm like, okay, let's paint a real picture of what it is. Like manifesting is like the actualization of thought into reality. It's not just the law of attraction, but people think that that's what it is. And so, yeah, definitely making sure that, you know, you're not going like, oh, okay, well, you know, I've worked so hard, but now like, oh, everyone's saying like manifest it. So like, take it easy. Don't do anything. Like, hopefully it comes. Like, no, like that's where I'm about the aligned hustle. So really making sure that, you know, the action that you're taking, have a look at where it is that you're going, have a look at what it is that you're calling in, see it is already being done, and then work it backwards and figure out exactly what those steps are that needed to get you there. And a lot of people go the other way and they just start doing like lots of busy things, like being like, oh, I'm trying. And it's like, no, is that actually aligned with what it is that you're working towards, or is it you just being busy, you know? And so figuring that out, I think, is really important, because then you make sure that you're being very intentional about the steps.
Intentional. Yeah, that's the word. That's the word. There's another thing too that I need to put on my screen as a sticky note, which is, are you working or are you busy? And I think you hit the nail right on the head. Like, you could be busy with a ton of things. I'm really good at that. Like, just finding stuff to be busy with. But is it really going to push me to the next step? Is it really going to get me one step closer to that like future that I really want?
100%.
I feel like aligned hustle is another way to say like in the zone. Is that accurate? Like, when you just you feel it, you're inspired, and you just let it flow, and the attention that it has to be towards where you're going.
In total alignment with it. And I think, you know, as well, like, you know, obviously this will speak to people on different levels depending on what you do with your life and your career and things like that. But like you said, like with the zone, like thinking about like ultimately like what is like what's the highest self version of you? What are you absolutely amazing at? Like, what do you kill it at? Like, what do you love doing? What's your actual purpose? And are you staying there, or are you filling up space with a lot of other things? And it can be very easy, you know, like in my business, for me, like showing up, doing like the massive action steps in the aligned hustle is going to be, you know, like creating courses, like getting on calls with my clients, going live, like creating the content that speaks to the soul of my ideal client, you know, building my, not sitting and replying to admin, or, you know, handling like financial things in the background, and not, you know, all of that stuff that is like, no, like even to the point, like it's getting, for me, as my business is growing, I'm having to give away things that I enjoy, but it's not necessarily where I need to be, or I'm good at it. I can do it, doesn't mean I should be. So things like website design, graphic design, all that stuff, I like it, I'm pretty good at it, but doesn't serve the people that need me. And so I think that's a really important thing as well. Like, how are you showing up? Like, yeah, you can do it, but should you be? Probably not. And then realigning yourself like that.
I feel like what you're talking about, I would call aligned action, inspired action, because like you were saying, I listened to my intuition and that's what took me to the next step. And for a lot of people, listening to their intuition would be quitting the job that you hate, or taking that leap of faith, or just doing that next step that you've been knowing is the right thing to do, but you're just not doing it. And then you're wondering, where's all my money? You're not following your highest action. You're not listening to your intuition. You're ignoring all the signs. So of course you're blocking it from coming.
100%. Yeah. Inspired action is my other go-to. It's why we're soul sisters. Literally, your inspired action for the week. Like, so yeah. And then like, in addition to that, like really setting energetic boundaries. So it's something that I work with all my girls on, like some of the main things. Honestly, people come for like a particular thing and I'm like, okay, wait. Let's have a look at what's really going on day to day for you. Let's look at that schedule. Is it aligned? What's happening? What routines, what rituals have you got going on? And really breaking that down and being like, cool, where are your energetic boundaries? Where are your cutoffs? Like, you know, if you're working with people, like, you know, when are those replies happening for your Insta DMs? Are you replying all day, or are you replying at set times in the day? Same for emails. You know, you can get stuck in those things for fucking decades. You need to have those energetic boundaries. When are you cutting off? When do you have time for you? Time for your relationship? Time for your friends? Like, actually being aware of all of that, because otherwise it just all like bleeds into each other, and that's why you feel drained, because you're ultimately just give, and you're not setting any like boundaries at all. And then you wonder, why do I feel so tired? Why am I burnt out? Why am I not feeling creative? And it's like, well, what room did you make for any of that actually allows that process to happen, you know?
I love that. Yeah. And advice for anybody who's wondering how to have an energetic boundary. One thing that worked really well for me was just turning off email notifications. Just by doing that, because I'll check it even absentmindedly. I'll, you know, the same way that I absentmindedly go into Facebook, I will check my email and then I'll be like, oh, I got to reply to this guy. Oh my gosh, I forgot to send this. Oh my gosh, they need this. Oh, it's maddening. So
no
turning
phone in the bedroom.
No, well, no phone in my living room. Okay, it's half the time it's just like
throwing it out the window. Goodbye, cell phone.
Its own doghouse now. But just turning off those notifications allowed me to just like, I noticed my breathing was different when I just didn't have to check. I'd be like, oh yes, I get to just like chill out now. You need time to allow yourself to just do nothing, or play a video game, or watch a movie, or play with your kids, or, you know, cooking dinner, it doesn't work because I hate cooking. But if that works for you, then go do that. But something that you can just kind of zone out and tune out, right?
Yeah, just whatever
What is
serves
that?
you.
What is that for you?
Oh, for me, I have something that I call my sacred morning rituals. So I won't touch my phone in the morning until I've done this. Like I literally, and so for me, like I break it down. So there's got to be some form of movement in there. At the moment, I'm obsessed with going on treadmill for a hill climb. I love it. So I do that, and then it's journaling, meditating in the morning. I'm obsessed with like smudging, so like with sage or like Palo Santo or something like that. I love to have essential oils on. So that's like morning, and so I've got to do that in the morning. But yeah, other than that, like I love, downtime. I love going for a walk outside. I love going to yoga. I've recently become obsessed with F45. Going to the movies with my partner, James. Like we love being outside as well. So anything like that, just like.
Wait, what's F45?
Do you guys, I thought F45 was a huge thing over there.
Maybe Kelsey knows. Do you know, Kelsey? What's F45?
No,
God.
I don't know.
So F45, like, I don't know, it came from the States first, but now it's here. So it's like functional 45. So it's 45 minutes and it's like very intense circuit training, like between like waves.
Oh, so it's
like,
exercise, that word. Okay, yeah.
Lindsay
I don't
doesn't
know
go to
that
the
word.
gym, so
I've never stepped into a gym before ever. I mean, I might have gone to a YMCA to go swimming once, but that's about it. I don't.
Oh, I just crave it so much. And like PT background though, so like
It's like
before.
I feel like it's like going vegan, where like I'm not a vegan and I don't go to the gym, but I feel like if I did either of those things, it would become like something I'm so happy that I did. I know it.
Yeah.
I know this already, but I'm just so tired all the time.
Exercising gives you energy, surprisingly though.
And that's what people say. Okay, so yeah. I have a lot of acquaintances and good friends who go to the gym every day, and they're like, you have no idea what you're missing out on. Like you will make it such a part of your life that you won't be able to go like a week without doing it. It'll feel so good to you. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, but kids, I don't know. I know I'm using them as an excuse, and next time you come on the show, if I somehow get a gym subscription, then I'll totally credit you for it. But
okay.
it sounds great.
Really changed my life.
Yeah.
I'm finally going to the gym.
I thought about doing like yoga in my living room. I feel like that's where I should start. Is just like doing yoga in my living room, because there's literally no excuse why I shouldn't be doing that. My kids will do it with me.
And literally yoga with Adrienne. That's where I started doing yoga. She's in
yoga with Adrienne.
Yeah, on YouTube. She's got millions of subscribers. Her videos are incredible. She does like series. Like she's great. Start there.
Shout out to Yoga with Adrienne. I'm gonna check
Adrienne, my love.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
That is so cool. Well, we got to take another break, but when we come back, we're gonna get more into this with Taylor and get some tips from you on what to do about more tips about burnout, more tips about finding your purpose, and how to kind of balance all that stuff. And Taylor has a freebie for you guys, so stay with us. We'll be right back. More with Taylor. This portion of the show is brought to you by Zola. It's the easiest way to plan your wedding and registry. Join over 1 million couples who've used Zola. It takes the stress out of wedding planning with free wedding websites, the easiest wedding registry, affordable invites, and more. Conveniently manage everything online and in one place. It saves so much time for couples. I actually have a really good friend. He was the best man at our wedding years and years ago, but he used Zola for his wedding registry. And I know from personal experience going online and picking out a gift for him, it's so cute to go on and see like all the stuff. And it's so easy to buy like the thing that they really, really want. It's all there in one place. The wedding website is all there too. It's just such an easy, convenient way to plan. And if you're a planner like me, you love things that are easy to plan.
Yeah, Zola is so cool because it's one of the only places where you can register for honeymoon funds and gift cards along with physical gifts. So Zola keeps everything really organized.
Yeah. So go ahead and build your free wedding website or register on Zola and get $50 towards your registry. Just go to zola.com/Vibin and get started today. Once again, that's zola.com/VIBIN and get $50 towards your registry. Go check it out. It's really cool. And we're back. Lindsay here with Kelsey Aida, and we have a special guest today, Taylor Ray, who is I guess I want to call you like a passion and purpose coach, because that's a big part of what you do. Yes.
Yes.
So how do you how do you, yeah, all of the things. So how do you help somebody if they're coming to you and they're like, I know that there's something that I need to do with my life. I know that there's something more, and I feel this pull to help or to, I'm sure you've heard it a million times. That's basically everything that people say to me when they come for hypnotherapy. I know there's something in here. I just don't know what that is. So how do you help them kind of unlock their purpose?
This is like my favorite thing. And it
Yeah.
is the question I get
Same.
much, and I adore it because I love the process of going through it. And when we get to that point where they go, oh, and because they come to me and I'm instantly like, I can see it, I know what you're here to do, I'm so freaking excited for you, like I'm going to my skin for them, because it's easier when you're outside, when you're the person figure it out for yourself. It feels really hard. I've been there, I know that. Like now I'm very blessed that I know what I'm doing, but like back then I was like, oh fuck, like there's so many things, I'm multi-passionate. Like how many times have we heard that thrown around? Like there's so many things I'm passionate about. Yeah, cool, so's everybody, but like let's figure out the thing that you're here to do in this moment right now. You can grow, you can evolve, you can pivot, but let's figure it out right now. And it's honestly the best thing ever, like just helping someone to go through that process. But for those listening who are kind of in this position right now and are like, okay, I know I'm here for something bigger, like I know I've got a purpose, but I don't know what it is and I don't know how to figure it out. First off, like please just recognize and like acknowledge the fact that is showing up for you for a reason. It's not it's not, maybe it's good, but maybe not for me. No, it's fucking for you. Like, that's why it's there. Like, it wouldn't be coming up if it wasn't for you. And that's like, that is your intuition, like literally giving you that sign. And the universe isn't teasing you going, wouldn't this be nice? Sorry, not today.
Just kidding.
Yeah, as soon as you decide that it is. So you need to actually make that decision and go, no matter what, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to put myself in the energy of like, yeah, it's going to work out. I know that it's going to come for me. I know that exactly what I'm supposed to do. Like the answers are coming, and like open yourself up to receiving those answers. But a lot of the time we go, okay, like I want the answer, but we don't actually ask the question. And that's what we need to start doing, is actually ask the question around the things that we want the answers for. So starting to just energetically shift yourself in that way is really powerful, and just going, okay, cool. Like I know that there's something else that I need to be doing right now. I'm not 100% sure what it is. I'm ready to receive those answers, and I'm open in whatever way they're going to arrive. And that could be anything. Like that could be an ad on TV that is like literally the thing that's like, hey, this is the thing for you. Or like it could be a billboard on the side of the road. It could be your best friend who says over lunch, like, can you help me with this? Like, and that's the thing you're really good at. You know what I mean? Like, and realize that. And so that's what like sort of like leads me into the next thing, is like you want to kind of break it down into like 3 different pillars. And this, I love to go over this. So like, I love acronyms and things that make things very easy to sort of follow, but like paid, play, and prattle. So like those are the 3 pillars of what you want to look at, and where those things cross over. So like think about like the 3 circles and where it crosses over in the middle. That is your magic. Like that is your zone. That's your beautiful little state right there. That's what we need to figure out. And so ultimately, like starting to think about it, like, paid side of things. So like if money wasn't an issue, what is it that you would be doing? Like if money was an object, if you didn't have to think about money, but there was something that you could ultimately just be doing, what would it be? And starting to get very honest with yourself there. And so ultimately as well, this brings us back to what I was saying before about energetic boundaries and carving out space for you. You need to do that. So like, don't try to do this on the fly while you're driving somewhere, or don't try to do it in between helping your kids with their homework. Like for you, have a bit of a beautiful like practice, do something, breathe, pick up a pen and start writing. And something I always teach my girls is stream of consciousness journaling. So like ultimately what I always say when you journal is like, for these sort of things, like for answers coming through, pick up a pen and write like it's not your hand. So you can't stop what comes out. You need to watch it like you're reading it for the first time. No judgment, no like, oh, that's probably the wrong thing to write, better cross it out, like get me the white out. Like that, like you need to watch your hand like you have no control, and you are just reading the words as they come out, and you literally just let the answers flow out like that in whatever way that is. Maybe you like to draw, maybe you like to brainstorm, do a mind map, like write words down. I don't care. Let whatever comes up come out. So I really encourage you to do that. So asking yourself first off, like if money wasn't an object, what is it that I would be doing?
Just a fun fact about the writing, the closer you get to the bottom of the page, the more subconscious you're getting. So the top of the page will start out very conscious, and you're going to probably feel certain things, but the more you write, the more natural it'll be. And that's the meat of what is really going on. Sorry for any vegans, but that's the only thing I can think of to say. But towards the bottom of the page will be where your subconscious stuff is. So if pay close attention to the bottom half of that page if you're doing a lot of journaling or writing in general. But real quick, I have to say this. Your energy shot through the roof the second that I asked that question. And I can tell like how passionate you are about this, which is so fantastic. But I wanted to just piggyback on what you said about paying attention to being open to receiving, you know, paying attention to the signs and things like that. I wanted to add something to that. Do your best to just acknowledge and observe in this moment, because you're gonna, let's say you're open to the answers and you see an ad for something that you feel consciously is just outrageous. You're gonna reject it. So it's very important to do your best to stay open. Like you said, money is no object. This is a game we're playing with the possibilities here, and don't disqualify yourself too early from the game, right? Like you want to make sure that you're not judging too much on what comes up in that situation. You just want to acknowledge and just take the next step from there.
Yeah, 100%. And also like, don't force it either. So don't be like, I'm on the lookout. Like,
yeah,
like
I'm supposed to be a model, or
just allow. Yeah, so that's the first bit. And then like the play part of it is like, what's fun to me? Like, what do I enjoy? Like, what's just like, it's for me, it just lights me up and it makes me excited, you know, like starting to think about that side of things and just starting to like, you know, brainstorm a bunch of things, like just things that you literally enjoy doing in your life, you know? And like, I don't know if you want me, I can go into like a couple of examples and kind of like in my life, how this relates. Like, I love people. I love talking. I love being on video. I love to record. Like, I love to create. So for me, like all of those things really like came into play when I was kind of figuring out what I was doing. And then obviously like the money, no object thing, like, you know, serving women, all those sort of things. And then the last part of it is prattle. And I don't know if that's like a term that you guys know or if it gets used over there, but like when you prattle.
I know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So like talking. So like, honestly, like if you could get paid to talk about anything that you ever want to talk about. And what I always say, if you could talk about one more thing until you died, like that's the last thing you could talk about. And you had to talk about underwater and all these things, like the one thing. And you also like think about it too. Like, what do you find yourself accidentally talking about when you're not meant to be, like at parties and things like that? You know, somehow you get onto this topic, or you find that people for some reason come to you about it and you don't even know why, and like it always comes up and you sort of always are kind of helping people, or you're always slipping it into conversations. Shouldn't be. Like that's the thing right there. And then there might be a few different things. Obviously it's not straight away, you're not going to get one, otherwise you'd already be clear on what you were doing. So there's going to be a bunch of things that you love to talk about. And so basically, you know, like draw those 3 circles, and where they intersect and there's that little section in the middle, that's going to be where you need to be. Like that's basically your purpose. That's what you need to start stepping into. It might still feel like a little bit muddy and a little bit unclear, but just start to own it and start to step into it and go, okay, I'm not 100% clear, but I know I need to start dabbling in this area, and I need to start showing up doing this, or I need to start taking steps around this. You know, obviously not everyone listening is, you know, into entrepreneurial sort of tendencies and things like that. It's the same thing for career, same thing for, you know, 9-to-5 jobs, starting to figure out, you know, what it is that you want to be doing, going through those 3 things, and then going, okay, I've got a bit of an idea, and then starting to take action towards that. And like, okay, where am I at right now? Where do I want to be? And what's the difference between those 2 things? And how can I start to close that gap?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Everything you said. Can I hire you, please?
Sure.
I mean, I already have my passion and purpose, but I just want to hear you talk about stuff.
Well, what I heard you say too is, especially in the beginning when you were talking about, okay, if you don't feel really clear about your purpose, like just ask, you know, like step 1 is to ask, because every problem already has a solution. As soon as the problem is brought to you, there's also a solution, because one can't exist without the other. And for every question, there's also an answer at the same time, simultaneously. So just putting it out there, universe, I'm ready to know what my purpose is. I'm really curious to find out what this is. I really want to know. That desire will help you to manifest the answer. So don't worry too much, because I feel like what I've noticed in the people around me's lives is that their purpose is always revealed to them when they least expect it, but also they've been asking for it, you know, like, I have this desire to know what I'm here to do. And like, I'll never forget one of my exes, the moment he realized that he was going to be a footwear designer. And this is like his calling, because he's been so obsessed with sneakers his whole life. He loves fashion. He loves design. He's super creative. He's an amazing artist. And like the day when he realized realized that there was a job where you could design sneakers, he was like, what have I been doing this whole time? This is totally for me. Like, I never thought this was even a thing. Like, oh my gosh. And like, I'll never forget that moment when I saw like his face light up and then his life just pivoted in a whole new direction. And like, I think everyone has a story like that to some degree where their purpose kind of slaps them in the face. So
mine did. And that's why it came up for me to tell people, like, don't disqualify yourself, because I kind of did that for like a hot second, and it wasn't that long, but I was like, oh, I've always been interested in the mind and hypnotherapy. I could do that. And then the voice went, well, but you got to do something safe though. Let someone else do that. And I was like, hold on, wait, why can't I do that? And I called the same night. It was like, first of all, I'm an Aries, so I'm super stubborn. Ask Kelsey, she knows. I'm very stubborn and very like ambitious is the good way to say that. But I just didn't let it stop me. So do not let it stop you. It might seem crazy, but it will feel, you'll know. It's like that ping inside, right? It's like, oh, something just turned on. Okay. So I got to follow this. Yeah.
Totally. And like just anything that comes up like that, it's just ego trying to hold you back, keep you small.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Keep you small, keep you safe.
Yeah.
Yep. So Kelsey, you want to talk about investing in yourself? Did you have a question about that?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Taylor, because I know she's an expert on this topic and she has much to say about it. How does one get over the fear of investing in themselves or get over the fear of putting their services out there for others? So like both sides of the coin.
Yeah, cool. Investing in yourself. Oh, I got so much to say. Cool. So like with this, like one of the biggest things that I would say, like, trust me, I understand, like, you know, the fear that can come up around that, and also the stubbornness, like what we were talking about before, where it's like, no, I've got it. I'll figure it out by myself. And it's like, okay, cool. Like you can, like, of course you can. Everything's on the internet. Internet's amazing. Everything is there. All the answers are going to be there. Of course you can figure it out, but you've got to think to yourself, how long do I want this process to take? Like, do I want this to be like a 1, 2, 5 year journey? Or am I willing to invest in myself to shortcut that process and to get the steps in an easier way that's going to mean that I can make a 2-year shift in 2 months? You know?
Exactly.
That right there, like how quickly do you want to actually literally revolutionize your life and make the biggest shifts that are going to get you to where it is that you want to go? So that's the first part for those of you who are like, no, I can just figure it out by myself. And trust me, I played that game for a while, like, and I did, and I would like, you know, study everything and like back end and try and figure it all out. And it's like, okay, like, you know, that's all good and well, but ultimately it holds you back from getting where you need to go.
So much more.
So much longer. So there's that. But then one of the bigger things, like obviously everything ultimately stems from a place of fear. And it comes from fear from a scarcity driven place. So it comes from that side of things with fear around spending money. That's generally what it is for most people. And ultimately, like what we want to be realizing is that, you know, when you invest in yourself, like you are signaling to the universe, like, hey, I'm making this decision from a place of abundance. And when you operate from a place of abundance, you open yourself up to receiving more abundance. So literally making that transaction, like that is where the transformation is going to take place. Like, and so like, it's everything, you know, like, when people pay, they pay attention, like all those sort of things. So, you know, it goes on both sides of this. Like, you know, when you pay, obviously, like you're going to pay more attention. You're going to start to like apply yourself more. You're going to make more shifts, more up levels faster. But ultimately the flip side of that on the energetic side with money is when you put that out there, then you open yourself up to receiving more. If you make the decision not to, scared of spending money, you're showing the universe that you think that money is a limited resource, that more isn't coming, and ultimately you keep yourself trapped in more scarcity. So yeah, you think you're doing better because you're like, oh, I'm holding on to the money, it's good. And it's like, no, you've just like created so much resistance around receiving more. Like literally like take that leap and the universe will deliver. So that's that side of it with investing in yourself. And then on the flip side with actually putting your services out there, it's basically like the same thing in reverse. So realizing like if you're not doing that, you're not holding space for people to make the transformation that they need to make. You know, if you are going, oh, but I don't want to charge people, it's like, no, wait, your services are worthy of massive compensation. Like you're putting out such a beautiful light. Money is just energy. So the energy that you are putting out in holding space for someone and coaching them or creating a course or whatever, the money that you receive is an equal energy exchange. So don't think like, oh, like it's unfair that they have to pay me for this. Like, no, it would be unfair if they didn't, because ultimately think about it. How many freebies and shit have you got in your inbox that you never even opened because you know, it was free, or a webinar you registered for, you never went, you know, like those sort of things. But when you pay for something, like I said, you pay attention. And so, yes, I'm all about giving out free content. I do it all the time. I've got that many freebies. However, I know that those who are really going to make the transformation that they need to take are the ones that are going to take the next step and then make that investment in themselves to be able to really make the transformation that they need to make. And that's where paid services come in.
Dude, guys, she knows what she's talking about. So speaking of freebies, you have a freebie for people. Tell us about that and where they can find it.
Yes, so it is a free downloadable PDF. You can literally go and get it right now. And basically what it does is it teaches you how to call in your ideal clients and get really clear on how to do that in 3 steps. So I won't tell you what the steps are, otherwise why would you get the freebie? But you can go and grab it. So it's at strongbabe.co/call-in-clients. And I'm sure you guys will link that in the show
we'll
notes.
link it in the description. Go get her freebie. And you're still working with clients. You're taking clients, yes?
Yeah. Yes. I've got applications open for one-on-one mentorships at the moment. And also, I haven't announced this publicly, so you guys are hearing it first, but masterminds that are starting in 2020. So looking for, female entrepreneurs who want to step into freedom, impact, abundance, but in an environment that supports you, that lifts you up with your soul sister tribe of women, basically rising together. If that sounds good to you, then definitely hit me up. I would love to have you.
You heard it here first, guys. Taylor, thank you so much for being here and shining your light to both of us and all of our listeners. It was such a pleasure to have you. Can you stick around for a little bit more?
Of course. Thank you so much, darlings. Appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Bye.